Today we're gonna talk about new trend, Curate-to-earn.
I think the idea of Curate-to-earn has resonated with people.
How CurateDAO works.
If I don't have to search through every product on Amazon and I can just know the best, that is something that you're willing to pay for.
So it's like a mercenary army.
Because it saves people time.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuri from Superdao. This is DAO Heroes, a channel for Web3 professionals and everyone inspired by the potential of Web3 and crypto and how it can change every industry and rethink what internet is and how we come together as a humankind through digital means. Today we're gonna talk about new trend, Curate-to-earn. This is a trend pioneered by the company CurateDAO, and Michael, founder of that company, is today with us. So we're gonna talk how humans can come together and make collective decisions, how that can be operated on chain, how everyone can be fairly compensated for their inputs, and what kind of industries can be transformed with Curate-to-earn trend. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Yuri. Thanks for having me.
So before we dive into CurateDAO, let's quickly review your background. So how you came up with what you did before, how you transitioned to Web3.
Yeah, before I was doing a PhD, I was at Stanford. I finished that. My PhD was in artificial intelligence and natural language processing and trying to use AI to democratize programming. Anyone to be a programmer, instead of having to write code, you could just jump right in and tell the computer what you wanted. Then I wrote a book on regulating AI. It's kind of how the intersection of the legal system works and AI. And I did that based on my experience as a head teaching assistant for a professor at Stanford who used to be a California Supreme Court justice.
Awesome. So you started as an AI researcher and seeing what AI can do for humankind, and then you realized that AI can't do everything. So we need actually human judgment, and then you realized the crypto is the platform to run human judgment and compensate the humans who make judgments.
Yeah, exactly. AI is great, but if you're looking for taste or recommendations about what a certain person likes or wears, AI can't do that.
Wonderful. So let's review how CurateDAO works, and then we'll talk more generally about Curate-to-earn trend and how it can transform different kind of industries, give kind of fresh perspective on things like marketing, advertising, maybe even legal systems, content distribution, and so on. So my rough understanding is Curate-to-earn model is there are participants, contributors who join CurateDAO, and they get assigned through different kind of processes, different roles, maybe an individual scout who find things, curator or editor who approve things or build lists or own lists. And then there are influencers who promote the result in lists or databases. And then if it's a list of products that can be purchased, and if any purchase through affiliate links happen, then the revenue goes back to the DAO, and then it's a responsibility for CurateDAO to redistribute the earnings from the collective kind of curation work towards influencers and curators and contributors. Is it a fair description what you would add or change or?
Yeah, exactly. Basically, you want to create a list. Say you're Yuri, you have a lot of books. I can see you're very interested in books. You seed the list with 10 books that you're really passionate about. You create an Amazon referral link for each of those. Then you publish that list to your followers on Instagram, Twitter, and people will be interested in your books Yuri has curated. But then also someone might say, oh, I know the 11th and 12th book that might be interesting. So they contribute that to your list. And we have a little bit of a tokenomics game where this crowd can help you curate through adding or removing things, but you or Yuri are the ultimate curator. And if someone gets their link in their book recommendation into your list, then they will profit based on the revenue that book generates and a little bit of residual from other people's books as well. So you basically get paid pro rata for the contribution to the curated data set.
Awesome. Wonderful. Tell us how far along is the company? So CurateDAO is the company that was created to kind of fulfill that vision. How old are you? What's going on with funding, with the team size? Is the product live? Are people using it? Were there any payouts already? Things like that.
Yeah, we started around 6 months ago. We did a fast version of iterating and got it working. You can visit curatedao.xyz with a K. And basically we started off just doing lists, best cities in the world, richest people, certain tokens for the different apps on different chains. And we've sort of taken those now and created stores from those. So now we're taking the list that we've created and creating these individual product stores, like your own curated store. Next up, we want to sort of take the software, the smart contracts that we've built, and also the community that we've built, and start bringing that into other ecosystems. So if other ecosystems have a large data set and they need help curating it, we can partner with them to bring our community and software to them.
Awesome. It feels like curator guild. So it's like a mercenary army of professional curators and scouts who can curate in different domains of expertise. And then you can kind of hire the whole army from Michael and bring them to your project, to your kind of domain expertise, and see how it goes. And you not only give the curators, the people, you also give the software that does this kind of payout compensation math and economics.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot to domain expertise. Like we have people that are experts in a variety of things, but there's really no substitute for people that actually know what they're doing within a certain domain. So as we go out to different types of data sets, we will get different types of people that actually have domain expertise in certain types of music or fashion or books or movies or whatever it is. There's really no substitute for someone who actually knows what they're curating and helping with it. So we hope to go to different types of communities and be like a horizontal platform which can activate different verticals of actual domain experts.
Yeah, but at the same time, I imagine if there are some people who are expert in crypto or crypto markets, they can curate for one crypto project and for another crypto project and for a third crypto project and so on. So it looks like you cover both commercial and non-commercial topics, and some topics that are traditional kind of offline products, and some of them are more digital products or crypto-related products, and you have like a breadth of that. So it looks like there was an evolution of 3 steps. There was lists on CurateDAO. There were like stores, so like a network of big category kind of destination verticals at Curate. And then eventually you envision bringing your curator kind of ecosystem to third-party destination sites and applications and ecosystems, and bring the kind of the power of human curation to their products.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Wonderful. And my understanding is across all kind of other DAOs and other ecosystems where people look for contributors, CurateDAO is one of the easiest to join and one of the easiest to start contributing and earning money. You start with Discord, 15,000 people, and you basically need to join Discord, get assigned a role or list or topic of expertise, and then you need to deposit some money to prove that you're not a spammer, and then start contributing. But my understanding that unlike I don't know, this kind of move to earn or like speak English to earn things where it's hundreds or thousands of dollars, in your case it's like a $1 deposit or something.
Yeah, so you don't have to deposit money to join the system at all. The reason you deposit money is if you want to contribute to a data set, which you get back. So the way it works is an anti-spam mechanism. So imagine if everyone had to pay a penny for an email. It would actually cut down spam quite a bit. Yep. And if the person read the email, you'd get your penny back. And we use a very similar tokenomics model. So if you submit something to a data set, you have to pay a very small amount of money. If you're accepted into it, then you get your money back. If you're rejected, you lose your money and you don't get the reason you want to pay that small amount of money, that you want to wager that small amount of money, is if you're accepted, then you get access to the overhead umbrella of being part of this other thing, which you'll get a percentage of your revenue that you generate.
Was I right? The amount of per like individual line item and individual list is like less than $1?
Yeah. It's a staking mechanism so that you need to stake something in order to get in. And then what's cool is another person can try and boot you out by staking against you. You stake in 10 cents. Someone else can then try and boot you out for 20 cents. But if that person is wrong, they lose their 20 cents.
Awesome.
Now someone else can then try and stake you back in for 40 cents, and it keeps double or nothing until eventually it reaches a threshold, at which point the curator comes in. But what's interesting about this tokenomics mechanism is that it distributes the curation down to other people. So it's not just one person who's taking control of it. Only for the most difficult cases does it escalate to the curator level. And so as a curator of a large data set, you might only have to review, say you have 1 million items, you might only have to review a small portion of them, which makes this scalable. And so you need that initial stake into the system in order to make this tokenomic system work. And also it disincentivizes bad behavior, which is really important. So on Facebook, you post something that is salacious, gets a lot of likes, that's good. Here, if you post it, you lose money. You're basically funding someone else. If you want to spam the system and do bad content that doesn't contribute to an overall beneficial data set, you're basically just paying. And so that we hope that disincentivizes that type of behavior.
Very interesting. Yeah, we've heard a lot of social networks where it's like pay to post or something like, or like you can post only once a day or something. So we'll see how it goes. But in this case, not only you need to pay to post, but then you can earn money if your post is good. So it goes both ways. And hopefully for people who are good at curation and nomination, they earn more than put on the line less than $1 on the post. So that seems very reasonable. So my understanding is that the immediate horizon is primarily like discovery marketing or discovery shopping, where you're building lists and eventually the whole stores for people to discover something shoppable, a product or service that they can use. But eventually you're thinking that collective human judgment that is incentivized and properly paid, fairly paid, can be essentially deployed beyond marketing, beyond e-commerce. So maybe let's briefly go to any other kind of verticals where you think this kind of on-chain community judgment protocols can help out.
I mean, one thing that I'm very excited about is for academic papers. As a former academic, the journal system is very broken. And the curation of how papers are submitted is very broken. So I think this protocol could allow for a distributed curation of high quality papers that would be very beneficial and change how the money flows. So right now, if you want to submit a paper, you have to pay a lot of money. And if you want to read a paper, you also have to pay a lot of money, which doesn't make much sense if you think about it. And the reviewers who do the reviewing aren't paid. In our system, the reviewers get paid, the people that submit papers get paid, the people that view the papers have to pay, which is how it should be. Other things I'm very excited about is basically what we have created is a judicial system of sorts, where there's a legislative, the executive, and a judicial branch, where each of the scouts and the curators are playing different things. So one thing I'm excited about down the road is bringing this sort of legal system. I mean, we've created a distributed adjudication mechanism for terms of service. And terms of service are very similar to like a legal system. And so I hope to bring this distributed legal system to the metaverse and to Web3. And it's very much like the idea of America, where each state is a laboratory of democracy, and each curated set has the ability to also be a laboratory of democracy, where the best bubble to the top.
Yeah, so essentially in different metaverse apps or in different kind of NFT marketplaces, there are different rules. I don't know, what is a banned content, a harmful content, good content, promoted to the front page content. And so these curators that operate on your Curate protocol would help those individual apps or marketplaces or destination websites to both kind of punish bad content, promote good content, good behavior. I've heard another area is insurance claims. So if you need to figure out whether the claim should be paid out or not, especially on hacks or things like that. So again, if you rely on a large number of people who would review the case and say, we believe that's a kind of correct case or fraudulent case. This is very interesting. So let's talk a little bit deeper on working with contributors. My understanding is that you got some initial press when CurateDAO raised funding. By the way, how much you guys raised?
6.85 million from Polychain, and then we raised some more money from ecosystem funds.
Awesome, congrats! That's very good funding. Hope you will deliver a lot of good stuff moving forward on that. So you announced some press, and so the press was surprisingly effective for your project. And so was the article in CoinDesk just linked directly to Discord? It linked to the front page that linked to the Discord?
That was linked to our homepage, and then our Discord grew substantially just from that article.
How much in the first week? Was the first all 15,000 came in the 1 week, or the first 1,000 came and then they brought the rest? Or
yeah, it grew for 2 or 3 weeks pretty substantially, and then it sort of flattened out a little as we built the product. I mean, when we launched, we didn't have a ton of stuff. We launched early. As we've been building it out, we've been attracting more users. Focusing on how many people you have, it doesn't necessarily count for much. It's how many people that are actually contributing day to day, which is sort of the more important thing.
Absolutely.
And from there, we used all sorts of roles within our Discord to teach people how it works. So we give away roles for sort of a fun way to teach people how to use the wallet, or teach people how to stake, or how to teach people how to scout, or the various things. But ultimately, the behavior that we want to create is all dictated by crypto economic incentives. So we wanted to create economic incentives for people to do the right thing. And for those economic incentives to be fairly clear cut, when you contribute and that data is good, you earn this amount, or you earn based on how much it's used. And that's really the crypto economic games, which we're relying on to drive our community. And I think the idea of curate to earn has resonated with people.
Yeah, that's definitely, there is a overall kind of the consumer trend of like do something to earn, like move to earn, speak English to earn, kind of, I don't know, sleep to earn, eat to earn, now curate to earn. This is definitely a big trend. And the good thing about your case is that you don't ask people to pay upfront too much. So it's not really like many other projects where basically the payouts for the early users are coming from the funds contributed from the late users.
I mean, because we're contributing like curating of data is very valuable actually, because it saves people time. If I don't have to search through every product on Amazon and I can just know the best, that is something that you're willing to pay for, and so it's a valuable service.
What do you think would be the most valuable verticals, like near term, like 6 to 12 months?
I think that what we're going after now is the product curation. So curating fashion, kitchen appliances, things that people buy.
So kind of consumer products in the range with like $100 to $1,000 or something in that range.
Yeah, exactly. People want to know what are the things that are trending or interesting. People want to know what specific people are wearing or doing, and that's a valuable and it's authentic too. So what someone is doing is authentic to them, and I think that's what makes it work. And the other thing that makes curation work is it needs to be very focused. So one of the things that we really emphasize is curating like a very focused set for a focused user, for a focused application. Like, what are the best kitchen tools for baking cookies, or what is the best shoes for New York in the summer for men or women, and really targeting down to like a very, very, very niche level. And that's the type of content that is easy to monetize.
So right now, the most of the traffic expected to come from influencers to get payout on the kind of list revenue, but long term, you think maybe search engine optimization and kind of search traffic can be a big part of it?
Yeah, I don't think we're not going for the SEO stuff. It's mostly for focused lists around things, around different verticals. That it's kind of like MongoDB. It's kind of like a database and with some new twists and turns on it.
What can be exciting in the next 6 to 12 months? I understand you're just making the product better and better. You onboard more contributors, you expand to new categories, you see where kind of contributors can create the most beneficial results, tuning unit economics and payout systems, and then eventually building big stores on Curate and partnering with some third-party applications where you can bring the power of curation there. So anything specific, exciting, specific verticals, specific partners, specific milestones, or just metrics? We want to have X amount of curators or X amount of lists of traffic. How you measure your success?
We measure success by things that were curated successfully by curators. I mean, I think that's our number one KPI that we're sort of looking at, is how many successful curations have been. I mean, we'll also start to look at tracking the products that are being bought as well. And we're looking at curators. That is another important one. And getting feedback. And we want sets of sets as well. We want to start joining sets together to create sort of bigger sets to allow sort of meta level curation, and for people to be able to transfer ownership between them so that you can sell your set at some point or something like that. These are things like down the road. We're looking to do like more complex behavior in how like data meets like sort of finance, I would say. So instead of like early DeFi was about like trading different things, and now I think we're going to be seeing a similar trend with data, and like you'll be able to do complex swaps and trades and stakes using just data sets instead of actual like money.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. It's like, I started curated certain, sci-fi books. I did a pretty good job, got some traffic. I become number one, list on CurateDAO on sci-fi books, and then I got bored or busy. So just instead of just dropping it off like you typically do on YouTube or Instagram, I sell it to someone who take it over and continue building up. So they compensate me for the early effort, and instead of starting from scratch, they start from kind of the base that I already built.
People want optionality, so that's kind of the thing, is you can start piece. I mean, that's where sort of this thing about like collaboration comes in, is like we might stick it into some other protocol. Like you could just take our thing and stick it in somewhere else and lend on top of it, use it as collateral. Or I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of like crazy cool use cases that will come out of this. That's kind of like the cool thing about Web3, is you can start to like do these things that you didn't even weren't really possible because you didn't own the data on Web 2. But now when you're owner of it, you can start to imagine much more complicated things.
Yeah, this is just scratching the surface. Was very excited to talk about Curate-to-earn. Seems like we are very early on. Today we learned that kind of you onboard the contributors, primarily Discord, then you roll giveaways, so like a role assignment, and then start doing like list ownership and payouts. And to control spam, you ask people to do deposits, which is an interesting mechanics, but deposits, you can start very low, below $1. And then you do some monetization of the list through affiliate links and other mechanisms like that. And then you distribute money for people who help promote the list, to people who own or like chief editor on the list, to people who are regular contributors to the list. And then finally, we learned that not only you can build a list and earn money on the list, you can trade lists, you can merge lists, you can build lists of lists, and you can kind of build a career of data curator or data builder on Curate. And not only you can build the data kind of stuff on Curate, the whole Curate ecosystem can come together to third-party tools and services and help curate their news feeds and front pages, and not only curate the good stuff, but also curate the bad stuff, and using collective judgment to decide what is bad, like what's harmful content, what should be like censored out, or I don't know, like demoted or hidden or flagged as potentially questionable content and things like that. So that seems to be like so much ahead. Thanks, Michael. Any kind of final words? Or people obviously need to join CurateDAO to play out as a contributors, because that seems to be super easy to start. If anyone wants to curious about being a contributor in a DAO, CurateDAO is one of the easiest to get started. So $1 is all you need, and MetaMask wallet. Any other kind of things to share with the audience?
Yeah, I guess I'm really excited about also the things that we're thinking about, but also the things that we haven't even thought about. So the types of applications that this will enable when you have beneficial content being rewarded. We don't incentivize clickbait. So you can incentivize actually good news. So like a news app built on top of this would be amazing. And, I'm sure there's all sorts of other things, but just this idea of incentivizing good behavior, I'm really excited about the potential applications that will come out of it. And we're starting, but if other people have ideas, I think that's even more exciting.
Amazing. Kind of the power of economics shapes what people actually create.
Exactly. So the whole concept behind CurateDAO is use crypto economic games to shape where different types of behavior is defined by the optimization defined by the curator, and seeing the types of things that fall from that.
This is amazing. So today we've learned so much. Thanks, Michael. And if you guys are interested to learn more about Web3 trends and how they shape including real economies, real sectors in our lives, please subscribe, leave a comment on what other topics and guests you'd like us to bring on. And until the next time, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.